The honey badger charges into the hunt without scouting first, as if fear has never existed in its survival dictionary. That small body carries a stubborn kind of power, ready to stand up to the most formidable ambush hunters of the savanna. Every step closer is a direct challenge, where reaction speed and nerve are pushed to the limit. So what makes a small animal capable of forcing an entire savanna to stay cautious? In the wild, honey is a dense, high-energy reward, and it is rarely free. Reaching that resource is not blind recklessness, but a carefully calculated mission. For the honey badger, spatial memory works like a living map, letting it remember the exact location of a hive for months and return with ease. When the air turns cooler, the raid begins. The honey badger uses its powerful front legs to dig into hollow tree trunks, creating an entry path without rushing straight into the main guard line. Instantly, the bees respond with a collective biological defense system, piling on pressure with intensely painful stings. This is where skin, about 0.25 inches thick, matters, helping it endure far better. In just a few well-timed seconds, it reaches the most energy-rich honey. What stands out is that it does not get greedy. It does not linger or stay too long. It collects only the best part, then slips back into the brush. The key to success is not only endurance, but the ability to optimize time. In the brush, cobras and vipers lie hidden like reflex machines. They carry potent venom, and an attack in 0.3 seconds can also project venom out to about 8 feet, enough to frighten most animals. But for the honey badger, this is simply another test of nerve and adaptability. As the honey badger moves in, the snake immediately climbs a tree to avoid being cornered. But the honey badger is also a master climber. The pressure rises fast, the snake loses its grip, and it drops to the ground. The honey badger reads the landing point, closes the distance in an instant, and the snake is quickly forced into a losing position. What makes this hunter truly stand out is its natural resistance to venom. Even if it is affected by part of a dose, the honey badger's nervous system can recover in about 1 to 2 hours. That window is like a short sleep to regain strength. Then it gets back up, continues the pursuit, and finishes dealing with what remains. A tortoise is often seen as a fortress that is hard to break through, thanks to a shell as tough as armor. Even though it moves slowly and steadily, very few predators can overpower it. It does not only hunt by chance, it can also track the trail of a feast after wild dogs move on. The honey badger appears quietly, gathers the high-energy leftovers, and slips away fast. Instead of relying on brute force, it uses a technical approach, trying to flip the tortoise onto its back to expose the softer underside. With strong jaws and near limitless persistence, it works along the shell's edge near the legs, tail, or neck, until it opens a gap large enough to get access to the inside. When facing a large leopard tortoise, the honey badger uses its front limbs, with claws longer than 2 inches, focusing on scraping and breaking the weakest connections. Rather than trying to crush the entire shell like many other predators, the honey badger chooses anatomical intelligence to find the exact weak point. And in the end, even a solid shield has to give ground to the savanna's most relentless survivor. On the savanna, the lion is a symbol of pure pressure. One step forward can make many species hesitate and back away. But the honey badger does not see a king. It sees an opponent that must be pushed back through sheer boldness. When facing a lion, the honey badger does not rush straight in. It keeps changing direction to avoid exposing a weak angle. Step forward, stop, then cut sideways without warning. The pattern becomes hard to read, forcing the lion to slow down and reset. Thick, loose skin lets the honey badger twist and pivot with surprising flexibility, sometimes startling the lion in the process. Even when several lions move closer, the honey badger still refuses to retreat. It raises its coat and lets out a harsh warning call. A single honey badger can keep up this intensity for hours without tiring. That attitude builds a psychological barrier, leaving the lions unsettled, unable to understand why such a small animal dares to challenge them. Irritation grows over time, and the defensive odor adds to the discomfort until the lions lose interest. In the end, they pause and choose to move away. In nature, some confrontations do not need a winner, only enough trouble to make them not worth continuing. And the honey badger, the animal that does not recognize fear, is often the one that keeps the initiative. Nature has given the honey badger a set of rare biological gifts. Those advantages shape one of the savanna's most fearless and unpredictable survivors. This time, the honey badger turns its attention to a massive South African oryx, with straight horns like blades, often close to 47 inches long. With just one mistimed approach, the oryx snaps into a powerful defensive response. But for the honey badger, that is not necessarily failure. It is more like a quick test to read the opponent's speed and blind spots. And once it understands the rhythm of that reaction, it is ready to push the challenge to the limit. At only about 30 pounds, the honey badger will even move in close to an African elephant that can weigh up to 13,000 pounds. It does not try to overpower the giant. Instead, it creates disruption and forces the opponent to lose focus. Each forceful shove can send it sliding a few feet, but its flexible body and thick skin help soften the impact and allow it to get back up almost immediately. The message becomes clear. Sometimes extreme boldness, fast recovery, and perfectly timed reflexes are enough to make even a massive opponent rethink the distance. The leopard is a big cat known for sharp intelligence, masterful camouflage, and formidable strength. It hunts with absolute patience, stalking in near silence. But hunger does not always allow it to choose an easy target. And then the honey badger appears, forcing every cold calculation to change. The encounter quickly tightens as the savanna's most unruly fighter takes only a light scrape on the leg. But for the leopard, it looks like an opening. The leopard keeps shifting its angle of approach, trying to exploit that weak spot with probing strikes. The honey badger reacts with fierce resistance, twisting and turning non-stop to break free from control. In the end, the leopard fails to gain the advantage it expected. Elsewhere in the brush, a young leopard, still inexperienced, creeps toward a juvenile that has strayed from its mother. A distress call flashes out in an instant. One decisive rush and a perfectly timed check leave the predator with no room to continue. Within seconds, that patch of cover becomes a no-go zone the leopard will not risk again. It becomes a costly lesson about limits and about the kind of calculated risk a leopard must learn before it can truly grow into its role. Across the African savanna, hyenas move like greedy ghosts, holding their power through harsh pack tactics. With bite force strong enough to break through tough material, a group of 3 to 10 hyenas can overwhelm even the largest targets, yet they often pause with careful calculation when a honey badger stands its ground. As the circle tightens and rough, laughing calls echo around the brush. The honey badger shows the attitude of an animal that refuses to be intimidated, backed by a sharp, pungent odor released from its defensive glands. Its thick, shaggy coat adds another layer of protection, letting it brace and defend with relentless intensity. Hyenas, practical hunters by nature, quickly solve the survival equation. The small amount of modest payoff from such a tiny animal is not worth the trade-off. The standoff often ends in a heavy, respectful silence as the pack spreads out and gives way, allowing the king without a crown of reckless courage to continue its solitary journey. Across the sun-baked savanna, the leopard moves forward like a figure that is hard to grasp. Each step carries speed, precision, and the quiet focus of a master of ambush. A single offbeat breath or the smallest mistake can be enough to change the course of the chase. Yet it is not only in control of its hidden attacks, it also frequently encounters rivals that are stronger and greater in number. This is the ongoing journey of a solitary fighter, where survival is decided by strategy and determination. The leopard belongs to the cat family and is part of the big cat group within the genus Panthera. With a sleek build and a distinctive rosette-spotted coat, weighing around 120 to 200 pounds, compact muscles, and soft, cushioned footsteps, it moves almost without a sound and can reach short bursts of nearly 35 miles per hour. Its strong ability to climb trees allows it to rest, observe, and store food out of reach of competitors. It lives everywhere from humid forests and open woodlands to dry grasslands and the edges of urban areas, making it one of the most adaptable cats in Africa. Without showiness, it embodies precision, discretion, and endurance, qualities that help this species maintain its place across almost every layer of the savanna landscape. In the world of grazing animals, antelope are known for their astonishing speed and agility. Their greatest strength is a burst of 40 to 45 miles per hour, with long legs like coiled springs, ready to launch at any moment. But their habit of lowering their heads to feed, moving at dusk, and staying close to thickets or stream edges creates windows for an ambush hunter. When hunting, the leopard drops its body low, blending into the dense grass and bushes to close the distance to prey, absorbed in grazing ahead of it. In less than 3 seconds, a long bound of about 22 feet at high speed turns what seemed like a safe gap into a decisive diagonal line across the space, and the prey is overwhelmed. At another moment, a midday nap about 25 feet above the ground is cut short when a few careless antelope pass directly below. Sensing the opportunity, the leopard launches from above, channeling its full weight and speed into a single point of impact, closing the distance in less than a second and leaving the prey no room to escape. The prize is quickly carried back up and hung safely on a branch, out of reach of passing hyenas or lions. Each ambush shows that the leopard's power lies in reading the rhythm of its prey and using every layer of space, helping the cycle between grazers and hunters run in balance. The warthog is the stubborn digger of Africa. Adult individuals weigh around 150 to 250 pounds, with low, sturdy bodies and curved tusks that can toss aside any careless challenger. In the larger picture of the savanna, Warthogs are also ground engineers, turning the soil, spreading seeds, and opening up living spaces for many other species. At the edge of the thicket, the leopard lowers its body and holds its breath. An explosive leap turns the short distance into a perfectly chosen landing point. The prey is quickly overpowered, and the grass falls silent before the dust has even settled. A rich source of energy for the days ahead. Near the burrow entrance, the mother warthog sometimes relaxes her guard while she digs. The leopard dares to move close to the opening, where faint, young squeals can be heard. With just a single moment of carelessness, the target is pulled from the burrow's edge before the mother can return. On the leopard's menu, the wildebeest is a rich source of energy, with its dense muscles providing enough protein to sustain it for up to 4 days. During migration, this food source becomes even more abundant. Adults can weigh from 300 to 600 pounds, so the leopard rarely chooses them. Instead, it focuses on the calves, much lighter and therefore the most realistic targets. On the Serengeti Mara Plains, a leopard seizes a wildebeest calf that has fallen half a step behind its mother. The encounter ends very quickly. If the mother turns back to defend it, her curved horns can actually make the calf stumble even more. The leopard simply keeps a safe distance, patiently waiting for the mother to move off before neatly securing its reward. Only rarely does it target an adult larger than itself. But on the slope of a riverbank, the prey can fall behind, lose its footing, and grow exhausted. Here, the terrain itself becomes a lever, turning a small mistake into a safe, energy-saving advantage. In moments like this, the leopard proves itself a hunter that knows how to make use of every opportunity. Baboons stand out across Africa for their collective strength and social intelligence, making them formidable opponents for many large predators. Their unity and discipline create a watchtower network spread across the plains, and for the leopard, they are always a highly challenging target. On the open savanna, the troop fans out to search for roots and other food to boost their nutrition. Not far away, a leopard lowers its body, blending into the grass to close the gap in just a few heartbeats. But the alarm call rings out almost instantly, and the encounter ends before it has any chance to go further. Only when they are high above does the balance tilt slightly toward the baboons. They are agile, clever, and impressive climbers, making it hard for the leopard to approach from any direction. Because of this, the leopard can only rely on rare moments, when a single individual is separated from the group and lets its guard down. At those times, it locks the angle along the tree trunk, funnels the target into a narrow fork, and ends the situation in an instant. Even so, baboons are still capable of putting enough pressure on a leopard to force it to retreat. Every confrontation between these two species is a test of nerve and discipline. Baboons hold the advantage up high, while the leopard can only succeed by choosing the right time, the right position, and keeping its escape route wide open. African wild dogs are known for their flexible formations and signals that are almost perfectly precise. Each one weighs only about 50 to 70 pounds, much smaller than a leopard. But when they work together, they create enough pressure to make a solitary hunter like the leopard stay cautious. The encounter begins when a leopard, dragging its prey, is spotted by a single wild dog. A signal rings out, and the whole pack rushes in, splitting into multiple angles to confuse and close in. To avoid the risk of injury, the leopard is forced to abandon the meal and rush up the nearest tree trunk, where height becomes its rare zone of safety. For the leopard, the ground is where it can easily be outnumbered, but the higher branches remain a shield for a lone hunter in the wild. Up there, it regains control and preserves its strength for the next hunt. The lion stands at the top of the hunting hierarchy. It hunts in prides, patrols wide ranges, and often takes over meals whenever the chance appears. For the leopard, a solitary hunter, this relationship is always a one-sided competition. While the leopard is pouring all its focus into its prey, it suddenly slips into the lion's line of sight. Its heartbeat surges. In an instant, it changes direction, slips into the shade of the leaves, and searches for an escape route, just in time to get out of danger. However, if its hunts repeatedly fall under the lion's control, that opponent shows no mercy, and the chance to get away is almost zero. When the circle tightens, the outcome leans toward the stronger animal. The meal is taken, the weaker one is left with no way out, and the grasslands fall quiet. With every encounter, the honey badger shows that strength is not only muscle, but also willpower, memory, and adaptability. In a demanding natural world, the longest survivors are the ones that can read the moment and choose the right timing. The honey badger does not dominate through size, but by forcing every rival to reconsider the risk. If this journey offers viewers a new perspective on the wild world, they can press like and subscribe to support the story.